Alan, how are you?
Well, Hashem, how are you? Back?
Good.
You recuperated from your trip?
Well, I came back and then I had to go to New York for a day, so that didn't help. You know, in and out. It's very hard, very hard.
I know. Wow. You can't travel today. It's so crazy. I went to Seattle this week for a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a short trip, but you go to the airport. It's crazy in the airport, and
It's a
coming back.
madhouse. Yeah, and you never know my bag is going to show up. And the flight I took back from New York, they had canceled a flight from San Francisco, so they had to squeeze the San Francisco people onto our flight. It was like crazy. People were like fighting each other there.
My son-in-law was in New York. He's supposed to come for Shabbos. He's tonight at 8:30 flight. He went to the airport.
Yeah.
They canceled it, so he had to go home. And there's no more flights tonight, and tomorrow there's no more flights tomorrow. So he's not coming for Shabbos probably. Crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, they say the later in the day, the worse it is. If you're gonna go anywhere, go in the morning because it gets so messed up by the end of the day. They don't have enough pilots. They don't have enough workers.
We took a flight to Seattle. We left the flight at 6 o'clock, so we got up about 3. We left here the house at 4 o'clock. You know, we dropped our car. They have like a valet service on Sepulveda right near the airport, and they drop you off, and then they pick you up. It's almost the same price as parking if you can can't even find a space in the airport.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's probably cheaper than taking an Uber too.
Oh yeah, of course. And all the construction workers all park in the parking lot, so there's no. That's why there's nothing there.
Yeah. They at least park off site and bust them in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh.
It's a mess there. It's a mess.
Hello.
We'll be that way until the what do you call it? Olympics in 28. Yeah.
Well, how about when are they going to finish the airport in Palmdale? Is that almost done?
Where's that?
In Palmdale. What they're supposed to remember years ago?
Oh, yeah.
We're buying land. They're buying land at Palmdale because the airport's coming.
Yeah, they lost a fortune, huh? Yeah.
Well, Gantz was selling land.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, everybody bought land up there.
Everybody bought in Palmdale.
Yeah, well, that was the play, the future. The future of Los Angeles, yeah.
It wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Because this airport's not big enough.
It's true. And they could build, there's plenty of land up there. They could build a big airport. It could house the big planes.
Tremendous, yeah.
Yeah, so
They have a real nice airport out in Ontario. Do you ever go to the one in Ontario?
We just passed by today. It was a big
beautiful airport, beautiful. But they rarely use it.
Yeah, I mean the thing is to come. It's still a schlep to come in, but it's still not so bad actually. It's
a little over an hour.
Yeah, I guess, but about not even an hour. Right from here, it's not an hour.
Yeah.
I went there this morning. I went to what do you call it? Not Pomona, something like Pomona. And it didn't take me long. Didn't take me long at all.
Oh, okay.
Oh well. So you had a good time in
Portugal? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, that's
very
good.
Nice.
Yeah, Bernie told me it was more of a learning experience. Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, every place we stopped, we learned a little bit about how the Jews were and the history. Yeah. It was very interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where are we holding?
Chav Zayin Amud Aleph.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Hu adin afilu nechbasha that when the government, there's no difference between whether it's the husband gave her up willingly as collateral, meaning if he doesn't pay, they take her for their own use. It makes no difference whether the Yad Yisrael, whether the Jews are more powerful or the Goyim are more powerful. But Ma'aser Shehaya Kachaya, but that's the case was, that was the case. Other people said, Amr of Afanana Mitania Heid Rabbi Yosef Kun Rab Schar ben Akatz Bas Yisrael, Shehur Hana Bashkelon. That means the goyim take her prisoner. The husband owes money, and they say, you have 30 days to give us, otherwise we're going to do what we want with this woman. And if the 30 days come by, so the goyim can do what she wants, can do what they want with her. So if she has eidim that says they never slept with her, then fine. Otherwise, we assume that she would not be able to go back to her husband if he was a kohen. However, in this case, the family did not treat her well, but but she had eidim that said that she was not raped. I mean, you can't have it both ways. If it was a case of ransom, then you have to believe the eidim that she wasn't molested. If you don't believe that aspect, then you can't believe that this was done midas. This case was clearly a money case, not an nefashos case. The reason we say she can go back to her husband because there were eidim. Ain't eidim mean so low. And maishna loishna hurhana v'loishna nechbasha. So it makes no difference whether it was done as a ransom or done as a capture. Versus lo hurhani shiny. That means when the husband gives her up midas, it's different. Since the husband willingly gave her up, so then they treat her minhag hefker. But maybe if other people, capture her, we don't have to worry about that. Some learn the sugi as a kasha. It's not. If it was not a din and a nefashos thing, but it was just money, she can go back to her husband. And veriminu, but we ask a stira. And the Ashkelon case was money. The reason she can go back to her husband because she had eidim. So she can't go back. So it's a stira. When the Jews are more powerful than the goyim, she would be permitted if the case was only money. And even if the case was money, if the goyim are stronger, then she would not be able to go back to her husband. And then the Mishnah said, in the nefashos asura, if the threat is that she's going to be killed, then of course they're going to be noig minhag hefker with her. Amar Rav could go nashi ganvi, like there were the highway robbers, and the government would make an announcement that, we're going to confiscate all of your assets and even their wives. The Levi Amar Kagonishto Shel Ben Dunoi. Ben Dunoi was a famous murderer. And there also the government said we're going to have to go after his wife as well. So in those cases, you have to assume that they would rape her. But that's when the husband has been adjudicated to death. Then the wife will be treated minhag hefker. You don't have to have a nigmar din lariga. These are highway robbers. They're going to kill people. They're also going to be noig with the wife b'minhag hefker, and then she would be not be able to go back to her husband if the husband was a kohen. Mishnah. Irsha kavshu a karkoim. An army lays siege to a city. The women inside the city are assumed to be raped. Now, if there are eidim that they were not raped, and afilu eved afilu shivcha, even the eidim are not regular kosher eidim. They're an eved. They're a shivcha. Re'elu nemonim. Ve'neman adam al yidei atzmo. You can't testify. You're not believed by yourself. Reminu balshes shabalir, meaning soldiers come to a city b'shas shalom when they're not in war yet. So chavios psuchos asuros, open barrels of wine. We assume they're going to have time to put their hand in the wine and make shichshuch lavodah zarah. And therefore it's also liyayin nesach. Stumos mutaros. The sealed barrels, it's too much time, too much trouble to open them up, so they remain mutter. B'shas milchama elu ve'elu mutaros. In war, they don't have time to do either, so all the wine is permitted. Lefi shem pnai l'nasech. So why are we worried that these women are going to be raped? They don't have time if it's a state of war. You know what? For sex, they'll make time. That means you have to worry. For them to have time to make yayin nesach, that they don't have time for. Makes a difference if the government of the same country is besieging its own city.
So that means what's interesting is we hold yayin nesach is even if a guy looks at wine, pours wine, whatever.
That's now, Kenny, that's gzeiros now.
Because here it seems that it's only yayin nesach if they have time to use it for avodah zorah. If they would have a drink,
well,
nobody cares about it. Doesn't change it.
What it's called is shichshuk. Shichshuk was they put their hand in the wine and they moved it around. It was some minimal activity that made it yayin nesach. We're going to learn in avodah zorah. We're using some of our knowledge that we used as long as they have enough time to stick their two fingers in and do shichshuk, that's enough. So in these cases where the open wine barrels, they'll do it, but to stop and open up a sealed barrel, that they're not going to do. So we asked the kasha, well, if they don't have time, why do we assume the girls are going to be raped? So we said for sex, they're going to stop. Today's dinim are just gzeiros onto gzeiros. That even if they pour the wine, it's any kind of touching it, and it's just we are goizer that it's considered yayin nesach no matter what they do with it.
Yeah.
So now the Gemara want to say that if the government is besieging its own city, they're not going to destroy that city so much. So they're going to leave the women alone. But if one government is attacking another government, then they'll rape the women. Even if it's the same government on its own city, we can't be sure that one of the soldiers went ahead and raped somebody. So we have to worry that it could be anyone in the city. The army itself put up MPs. The American army does that, where they go in somewhere and then they have special military police monitoring that there's no rape going on and things like that. They don't allow the soldiers to do a pogrom or to riot or whatever. So if the army has that, and that's what we're talking about, then that's when the women would be okay. But even with that, the watchers can't watch everything. And some soldiers must have sneaked out and done some raping. Now, this was a very tight military police. They had dogs, chains, they had geese. There's a whole thing to do for shmira. And nobody would be able to come into a city without permission. you can imagine the Roman armies or the armies of Alexander the Great, there was discipline. And they had, in order for civil government not to break down, if they conquered a city, they would install various police practices, even to police their own soldiers. That's basically what the Gemara is telling us. Rav Abba bar Zavda pligi Rav Yehuda Nasi of Rabbana. That Rav Yehuda Nasi and the Rabbanan argue. Chadamar kan bekarkum shalos malchus, kan bekarkum shel malchus acheres. The distinction between whether they were mutter or not mutter, we said it was whether the government is attacking its own cities. V'loy kasha le v'lo midi. V'chad kasha le kolani u'mashani. V'gadmar le l'mosar shishil v'gav v'gav zavavsa. That means that they asked all the kashas that maybe even in its own malchus, somebody's going to sneak by. But then we said no, because they put many different types of shmira, excuse me, in place. Says, if let's say there was one tunnel, one hiding place, where a girl could have run, or girls could have run to hide, so we say that all the girls in the city are permitted. We are toilet. We use the concept of toilet that anyone could have hid there. And therefore we don't passel them al safek. Boy Rav Yirmiyah, what if this hiding place only could accommodate one woman? Well, each one could have gone there at some point and hidden, one by one. Maybe we don't say such a svara. So the Gemara says, Maishna mishnei shvilin. Why is it different from the din of two roads? You have two roads, echad tani ve'echad tor. Under one of the roads is a corpse buried, widthwise. So there's no way to walk on the road without crossing over the dead corpse. We know for sure one of the roads. The other road is Tohar. One man walked on one of the roads, and then he worked with food that was Tohar. The second guy walked on the other road, came to the same bakery and worked with the Taharas. Now, Rabbi Yehuda initial zeb ifnei atzmo v'zeb ifnei atzmo. If each person comes to Bezdin separately, then Taharas. Well, it's one out of two roads that they could have taken. So we don't know. So misafik, we don't passel the Taharos. Now, if they both come together, shneim ka'achas, well, we know when they come between the two of them, one of them went on the Tamei road. So then Tmeos. Rabbi Yossi Omer, bein kach ubein kach Tmei. Whether they come.
Why don't they shafik to b'shus harabim then? This came to Bezin, they're both of them shafik to b'shus harabim.
Not Suffolk, and if both of them are there, if both of them went on the road, we know for sure that one of them went over the road that's Tamei.
Yeah, but if you're a suffix, it's still a suffix. Which one? Suffix.
Not a suffix. If they come individually, so
no, that for sure. I know, I understand. But if they come together, so what if?
Not a suffix.
So which one though? It's a suffix of which one?
No, they both worked on the Taharos.
But they came together, and one of them for sure went through the.
They came to Bezdin together. They came to Bezdin together.
Okay, so that's still.
If one comes to Bezdin by himself and tells over the case, they'll say Tohar. And another guy comes and says over the case, they'll say Tohar, because in each one as an individual, it's a suffix, and suffix b'shus harabim is Tohar. But if they came together and they say the case, so it's vadai that one of the two of them touched Tamei, and they both touched the same thing.
No, but it's a suffix of which one? So still that's
both worked on the same dough. They both touched the same dough. So when two of them come and worked on the same dough, in either case, we know that one of them was Tomei, and the dough technically would be Tomei. But the method by which they ask the Shaila defines whether the dough is considered Tomei or Tor. If they come together, so there's no suffix, because we know one of them was Tomei. You get that?
Yeah, but still the question of which one, though. It's still a suffix of which one. One of them for sure is Tomei, but we don't know which one. So
Doesn't make a
it's still-
difference. Doesn't make a difference. They both touched the same dough. So is the dough Tomei? Yes. Because
but
the guy who
what-
walked over the corpse,
but what if-
touched it.
yeah, but I mean, what about the road? They went with both roads they took.
Two roads.
And they came together.
One road has a corpse underneath it.
Right.
The
And
other
the other
doesn't.
does. So, but they
One
came
went, on,
together,
one went on one road, and the other went on the other road.
so they came together and they don't know
If they
which.
come b'zachar zeh, and they ask the question as an individual, so then we say it's Tor because it's a suffix, which one,
Okay, but if they came
so
together.
when they come together, it's no suffix anymore,
Okay.
right? Because one of them clearly walked over the road, and they're both there, and they both touched the same dough. It's the same mitzias in either case. Both of them touched the same dough in either case. But in the first case, they weren't both there then when they asked the Shaila to Bezdin. And for Bezdin, then it would still be a suffix. You notice Rabbi Yossi says doesn't make a difference. Even if they came bein kach, one individually, it's still Tomei. Because like I'm saying, we know for sure that one of them went over a Tomei Dika road. Excuse me. In fact, Rav Yochanan says there's no debate that when they both come together, everybody holds its tummy because we know for sure there's no suffix. And b'zachar zeh divrei kol tohim. When they come individually, everybody holds it's a suffix for either, and therefore it's tor. Lo nechleku ela b'bol yishol alav al chaveru. One guy comes, he asks for himself and for his friend. Mar medami le basachas. One compares it to a case of basachas, which would make it tummy. Or mar medami le basachas, which would make it tor. In our case, in the city that has a hiding place, kivin deshor lulakulu, you're permitting all of the women. It's kivasachas dami. It's considered like, even though they went individually, it's treated as if they were all there at the same time. Why wouldn't we say that they're all tummy? The Gemara says, Hachiyash, there's no comparison. Hasam vaday iketuma. The case of the road, we know for sure there's a tumah there under one of the roads. Hacha, but in the case of the city with the invading soldiers, miyema diitmi. We don't know for sure that they were raped. Maybe they were raped. So since it's more of a suffix in that case, so we treat the women more leniently. Boy Ravashi. The woman comes and says, I didn't hide, but I wasn't raped. Now, me amrinan, mali l'shakir. To Miko again, that if she's going to lie already, she could tell a better lie. She could have said, I did hide. So the fact that she admitted that she didn't hide, maybe we should believe her because of the svara of mali l'shakir. If she's going to tell a lie, she could tell. She could have lied better. Or maybe we don't say mali l'shakir. Why is this different from the case of Dahu Gavra, the Agalei Charmel Chavre? Person rented a donkey to his friend. Don't take the donkey on the road that's next to the river Pkoid, because it can flood the Ikamaya. Go by the Neresh road, which is dry, is safer. The guy didn't listen. He went next to the road of Narpkoid. and the chamor drowned. Also, Kamei de Rava, Amarle, in Borcha Dinar Pkod Azli, but Miulav Maya. I did go along that road, but there was no water. So again, this could be a svar of Mali L'Shakir. If he's going to lie, he could have said, I went on the other road. Amar Mali L'Shakir, and therefore we believe him. Because Iboy Omer Le Borcha the Neresh Asli. If he's going to lie, he could tell a better lie. Went on the other road, the Neresh road. Amar Le Abai Mali L'Shakir b'Mokum Eidim Lo Amrina. Mokum Eidim here means, that Rishonim explain, we know the facts. This place always has water. That's like having Eidim. So you can't use a svar of Mali L'Shakir when we know for sure what the status of a thing is. So you can't have a migut taina in such a case. So the Gemara says, so we wanted to ask, by the case of the woman that says, I didn't hide, but I wasn't raped. We know for sure that there's always water in that place. Hit me, but here we don't know for sure that a woman was raped. It's only chashash. So the svara of Mali L'Shakir we do accept when it's just a suffix. Okay, that's an important principle. Then we said, if the woman has an aid, even her eved, that says she wasn't raped, we believe her. Even her own personal maid is believed, Raminu. Los yachad imo ela al pi edim. Someone divorced his wife on the condition, let's say, after 30 days. And the 30 days haven't gone by. The din is you're not allowed to do yichud with your wife because we're concerned that you're going to live with her and that will be mavatal again. Unless you have edim. The aid that can testify that the guy didn't sleep with his wife could be even an eved and a shifcha, but not her personal shifcha. Then they shall libo gaspa shifcha. Her own, she'll even sleep with her husband in front of such a shifcha. So how can we rely on her own personal shifcha? Amrav Papi, bishvuya hekilu. By a woman taken prisoner, we want her to go back to live with her husband. So this is one of the kulas. We don't believe her shivcha aktani. Ein adam meid al atzmo. Person can't testify for himself. Hashivcha dida me'emna. That her shivcha can testify. So the Gemara says shivcha sanami ka'atzma dami. Her shivcha is like her own self. Rav Ashi Yamar hava ha b'shivcha dida. We're talking about, in both cases, her personal shivcha. V'shivcha mechzeh chazi v'shaska. And the shivcha saw and was quiet. Now, it depends on the case. By the case of a get, when she's quiet, she sees something and she's quiet, that permits the wife. So it's a dvar heter. So then lo mehemna, hacha d'shtikaso sarta. In the case of the rape, where if she's quiet, it doesn't say that she wasn't raped, and her silence will prohibit the wife. There she's believed. Or says, what do you mean? Ashtanami Asri Meshach, she could still lie. Tarti lo avda, to be quiet and to lie, both, she's not going to do both. A brother came. I'm a brother, and I want to have half of my father, I want to share the assets with you. I don't know who you are. You're not my brother. So he told the brother who was demanding part of the Yerusha that he's correct that he doesn't recognize you. You see, Vayaker Yosef is a chavim lo kiru. Yosef wasn't recognized by the brother. Melamed He left without a beard. He had a beard now. So it is possible people won't recognize you. So now they said to the guy who was claiming the money, bring Adim that you are his brother. Then you can get the Yerusha. Amrle, Isli Sadi, but Umistafina. You know, I have Adim, but I'm afraid of him. He's a mafia guy. The Gavra Almahu. Nati, I'm teaching Daf Yomi now. Let me call you back, okay? Listen to this. This stranger is coming to the guy who has the money, claiming, I'm a brother, give me money. So we said to that guy, well, you got to bring me proof, bring me Adim that you're the brother. But then that guy says, well, but the guy's a mafia guy. So my Adim are afraid. So now Bezin turns to the mafia guy who has the money and says, you bring Adim that he's not your brother.
Oh,
So he says, Amalei Dina Hachi, Hamotzi Mechaver alav haraya. The classic din everywhere is the guy who wants money to take from me has to bring the proof. Hamotzi Mechavero alav haraya. The guy who's trying to get money from a person has to bring the proof. So the burden of proof is on the party trying to get the money, not on me to protect my money. What's going on here? This is the din. The burden of proof is shifted when a guy is powerful and a mafia guy. Ashtanami also mishakri. So they'll say, the Adim can come and they're going to lie because of the guy's power. Tarti lo avdi, that means two sins are not going to do. To hide the truth and then lie, we're not. So we understand this concept of tarti lo avda. More says lema kitanoi. Let us say that this issue is machlokas tanoi. Zu edus ish v'isha, tinik v'tinoikis, avia v'ima v'achia v'achoisa. This type of testimony that a person was not raped can be a wife to a husband, husband to a wife, mother, a father, or a mother, a brother and a sister, avalobnovita, but not to a son or a daughter. Lo avda v'shivchasa. B'tanya decha kol nemonim la'ayin chutz mehemna ubayla. Everyone is believed except for her and her husband. Now, the Rav Papi, Rav Ashi, Tanoi. Those are clearly machlokas Tanoi. Rav Papi, Milema Tanoi. But maybe Rav Papi is not. Amalcha Rav Papi, Kitanya Hi b'Mesich Lefi Tumo. We're not talking about Eidus. We're talking about, we heard a story. Ki hada chiyas Rav Dimi Am Rav Chanan Kartignoi Mishtoi. Masa Balav Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Varmel Rabbi Shua ben Levi Mishtoi. Masa Balav the Rebbe, Be'odem Echad Shem Mesich Lefi Tumo. He was telling a story. We were me and my mother were taken captive. When I went to get water, I was looking at my mother. Based on this story alone, he martyred him. But if you're in court giving testimony, then we don't believe that. Mishnah. Hamaon hazeh, he took a shvua. Lo zaza yada mitoch yadi misha shenichnasu nochrim Yerushalayim. That I never let go of my wife's hand from the moment that the goyim burst into the Yerushalayim. Ad sheyotzu. Armelo ein adam made alatzmo. We don't believe you. You can't testify about yourself. Your ishto kegufo, testifying about your wife is testifying about yourself. Tana. Ve'afal pichein yichad lo. Even though he was a kohen, he did not divorce his wife. he let his wife live in a chutzner in his house. They stayed away from each other. They were not miyached. When she went out with her children. There was never yichud between them. Came. Now, when you make if you give a woman a get al tnai, you're not allowed to be miyached with her. So can you live with a wife in a chutzner the same way? The Gemara says, we said before, svara by women who were taken captive, we were makel. Just like by agunos, by women whose husband died in China. But maybe by get, we don't. Maybe there's no difference. So, Toshma, the Tanya Magarshis Lotinasa Bishkunoso. That if a man divorces his wife, she shouldn't get married in the same neighborhood because they're familiar with each other. They might do some hanky panky. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to learn at 4:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I don't know what's going on in the shul. The Mishnah Brura says that you're allowed to learn regular Torah when Tisha B'Av falls out on Shabbos. I don't know what Rabbi Spiegelman is paskin. Is Rabbi Spiegelman, are they giving Daf Yomi at Young Israel Shabbos afternoon?
I don't know yet. Stay tuned. We'll find out tomorrow when the Kolenu goes out.
Right, because I would learn. We could learn maybe at, I don't know, what time is Mincha called for?
Last week was 7:20.
No, I'm saying, but tomorrow there's not going to be Shalosh Shudas at the shul. The fast starts 7:49. So maybe
I don't see it. I don't see it occurring later than 7:30 at the latest.
fine. Then we could learn. We could learn at 6:30 or 6. I mean, if Mincha's at 7, we'll have to see we'll talk about it tomorrow once you get the call.
Ernie.
Yes.
So the rabbi sent out a sheet about the halacha. So he says here, regulatory learning is permitted until Chatzos, 1 p.m., upon which some poskim maintain it is preferable to learn only things permissible on Tisha B'Av.
I said, but
That being said, it's obviously better to learn even non-Tisha B'Av material than to waste time.
right. I not only that, there are if you have a regular shiur, there's also if you have a regular shiur, I think we're on solid ground to do the daf, because otherwise we're going to miss Sunday. We can't learn,
Mhm.
and I think the fast is over very late.
I have no problem.
So on Shabbos, don't do it like maybe 5:30 because you have to go home and eat something.
Okay, fine. I agree with that.
Yeah, so 5:30.
5:30. That way we can go home and have plenty of time. Shalosh Shudas. And I don't think we can learn Sunday. We'll learn tomorrow 4:30. And we'll try to do one of those things. We'll try to do another extra blot, so we'll be okay to cover Sunday. And then we'll learn again Monday night. I don't see us doing anything Sunday night. It's too late.
Too late.
Okay.
Good night.
We don't have
All right.
Walter, so I'll give Walter